There are 25 foods sitting on grocery store shelves right now that will still be good to eat in 10 years, 20 years. Some of them, genuinely, forever. Not because of some special preservative, because of basic chemistry. And once you understand why each one lasts, you'll never look at your pantry the same way again. Today, we're going through all 25, why each one survives so long, why storing it properly actually matters, exactly how to store it so it hits its full lifespan, what it does nutritionally, and how to actually use it. This is the pantry building video you'll want to bookmark. I've grouped these into 4 tiers, starting with the foods that basically never go bad, all the way down to the ones that still give you years, not days. Let's start. Food number 1. Soy sauce. Soy sauce's extremely high salt concentration makes it inhospitable to bacteria, which is why an unopened bottle lasts forever. Storage matters more after opening, once oxygen and moisture start interacting with it regularly. It needs refrigeration to hit its full 2 to 3 year extended life. Store unopened bottles in the pantry. Move opened ones to the fridge. Nutritionally, it's high in sodium and adds real umami depth without needing much of it. Use it in stir fries, marinades, and glazes. Food number 2. Salt. Salt is a mineral, not organic matter. There's nothing in it for bacteria, mold, or anything else to feed on. That's why it doesn't expire ever. Why storage still matters? Salt is highly absorbent, so it pulls in whatever moisture is floating around it. And damp salt clumps and can pick up odors from anything stored nearby. Store it in a cool, dry, dark spot, ideally in an airtight jar rather than a paper container. Nutritionally, sodium is essential. It regulates your fluid balance and nerve function, though moderation still matters for heart health. Use it for seasoning, curing meat, canning, and even natural cleaning. Food number 3. Sugar. Sugar is actually a preservative in its own right. It's low moisture content. That means bacteria can't establish themselves in it, which is exactly why it's used to preserve jams and canned fruit. The storage risk isn't spoilage, it's humidity. Sugar hardens into a solid brick if moisture gets in. Store it in an airtight container in a dry, dark cupboard. Brown sugar specifically benefits from a slice of bread or a marshmallow tucked inside to stay soft. Nutritionally, it's pure carbohydrate energy. Not a health food, but a useful, quick energy source and an essential baking and preserving ingredient. Food number 4. Raw honey. Honey survives essentially forever because of 2 things working together: very low moisture content and natural acidity, both of which are hostile environments for bacteria. Archaeologists have found genuinely ancient honey that was still edible. Storage matters here because humidity is honey's only real enemy. Moisture getting in can eventually allow fermentation. Store it sealed tightly in a jar, away from humidity, and don't refrigerate it. Cold actually speeds up crystallization. Nutritionally, raw honey carries antimicrobial and antioxidant properties, and it's a traditional remedy for soothing a sore throat. Use it as a sugar substitute, a glaze for meats, or in tea. Buy pure raw honey specifically. Cheaper honey cut with corn syrup will spoil like any sugar syrup. Food number 5. Vinegars. Vinegar's acidity is simply too hostile for anything to grow in. That's the entire reason it lasts forever sealed. Storage is mostly about protecting the bottle itself. Keep it in its original airtight container, away from heat. which can slowly affect flavor even if safety isn't at risk. Nutritionally, vinegar, especially apple cider vinegar, is often used for its acetic acid content, which some studies link to blood sugar support, though it's not a cure-all. Use it for pickling, cleaning, salad dressings, and marinades. If you see cloudy sediment in an unpasteurized bottle, that's the mother. A sign of quality, not spoilage. Food number 6, vanilla extract. Real vanilla extract is preserved by its own alcohol content, which is what gives it an indefinite shelf life. Storage matters because light and heat can degrade the delicate aromatic compounds over time, even though the alcohol keeps it safe. So keep it in a dark container away from sunlight and any heat source. Nutritionally, it's used in tiny amounts, so its value is really flavor, not nutrition, but that flavor is what makes it worth stockpiling. Use it in baking, cookies, cakes, custards. The critical detail: buy pure vanilla extract, not vanilla flavoring. Imitation vanilla isn't alcohol preserved and only lasts 2 to 4 years. Food number 7, cornstarch. Cornstarch stays inert indefinitely as long as it's completely dry. The moment it touches water, it activates and begins to break down, which is the whole reason it works as a thickener. That's also exactly why storage matters so much. Any humidity at all shortens its useful life. Store it in its original container, sealed, in a cool, dark spot, never above the stove where steam collects. Nutritionally, it's a minor carbohydrate with essentially no nutritional value on its own, but its role is functional. Thickening gravies, soups, sauces, and pie fillings. Food number 8, dried beans, lentils, and legumes. Dried legumes essentially never expire because there's no moisture left for anything to grow in. The food is fully dehydrated. What changes over time is texture, not safety. Older beans simply take longer to cook and rehydrate. Storage matters here to prevent them from reabsorbing moisture. Keep them in sealed, airtight containers, and for true long-term storage, Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers work best. Nutritionally, this is one of the best foods on the entire list, high in plant protein, fiber, and iron, with no refrigeration required. Use them in soups, chilies, and rice and bean bowls. One key rule: don't mix old batches with new ones in the same container, since they'll cook unevenly. Food number 9, popcorn kernels. Whole, dried popcorn kernels last indefinitely for the same reason beans do. There's no moisture inside for anything to break down. Storage still matters because kernels need a small amount of internal moisture to actually pop. Too much temperature fluctuation dries them out and increases the number of kernels that never pop at all. Store them in a sealed container in a stable temperature spot in the pantry. Nutritionally, popcorn is a genuine whole grain, high in fiber when air popped, and a much better snack option than most processed alternatives. In a pinch, and unpopped kernels can even be ground into cornmeal. Food number 10, powdered Jell-O. Powdered gelatin lasts indefinitely as long as it stays dry. It's a dehydrated protein product, and moisture is the only thing that threatens it. Storage matters because humidity causes clumping, which can affect how well it sets when you actually use it. Store boxes sealed in the pantry, away from any damp areas. Nutritionally, unflavored gelatin is largely protein, and some people use it specifically to support joint and gut health, alongside its more familiar use in desserts. Use it for classic Jell-O salads or homemade marshmallows. Food number 11, liquor. High-proof liquor's alcohol content is simply too hostile for bacteria to survive, giving hard liquors like whiskey, vodka, rum, tequila, and gin an indefinite shelf life. Storage is mostly about consistency. Keep it at room temperature, out of direct sunlight, which can affect flavor over very long periods, even if safety isn't a concern. Nutritionally, it offers no real value, but functionally, high-proof alcohol is useful for disinfecting, making extracts, and food preservation. Not every bottle in your liquor cabinet follows this rule, though. Cream-based liqueurs like Irish cream and fortified wines like vermouth need refrigeration after opening and do have a real shelf life. Food number 12, maple syrup, unopened. Real maple syrup's high sugar concentration keeps it shelf-stable indefinitely while unopened. The same preservation principle as honey. Storage matters because once you open it, exposure to air introduces the possibility of mold, so open bottles need refrigeration and should be used within about a year. Store unopened bottles in the pantry. Nutritionally, real maple syrup actually carries trace minerals like manganese and zinc, unlike plain sugar. Use it in baking or as a glaze for roasted vegetables and meats. Watch the label. Pancake syrup is usually mostly corn syrup and doesn't share real maple syrup's shelf-stable properties. These 12 basically forever foods, if you've got even half of these already in your kitchen. You're further along than you think. Hit that like button if this is useful so far, because we've still got 13 more foods to go, starting with the ones that last decades rather than forever, but come with some of the most important storage rules on this whole list. Now let's move to Group 2. I call it the decades-long foods. Food number 13, white rice. White rice can last up to 30 years properly stored. And the reason comes down to oil content. White rice has almost none, so there's nothing in it to go rancid. Storage matters enormously here. Rice left in its paper bag will absorb moisture and attract pests within months. Store it in a food-grade airtight container. Or for true long-term storage, Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers in a cool, dark spot. Nutritionally, it's a clean, easily digestible carbohydrate base for almost any meal. Use it in stir-fries, rice and beans, soups, and stuffed peppers. Critical distinction. Brown rice does not follow this rule. Its natural oils in the bran cause it to spoil within months, not decades. Food number 14, instant coffee. Instant coffee can last up to 25 years in the pantry, longer in the freezer because it's already freeze-dried. Most of the moisture that would cause spoilage is already gone. Storage matters because it's also highly hygroscopic, meaning it pulls moisture from the air aggressively if the lid isn't sealed tight. Store it in its original sealed container or an airtight jar, kept dry. Nutritionally, the main value is caffeine, a genuine alertness and energy aid. Use it dissolved in hot water or in baking for mocha flavoring. Food number 15, powdered milk. Powdered milk can last up to 20 years because removing the moisture removes the environment bacteria need to survive. Storage is critical here, though. This is one of the more sensitive items on the list, since any moisture re-entering the powder can cause spoilage fast. Store it in an airtight container with a moisture-absorbing packet, in a cool, dark place, never in its original cardboard box long-term. Nutritionally, it delivers real calcium and protein, useful for baking or reconstituting into drinkable milk. Use it in breads, pancakes, and sauces. Food number 16, molasses. Unopened molasses lasts up to 10 years, 5 once opened. thanks to its high sugar concentration acting as a natural preservative. Storage mainly comes down to sealing the cap fully after each use. Air exposure speeds up crystallization over time. Store it with your baking supplies in the pantry. Nutritionally, molasses, especially blackstrap, actually outperforms white sugar, carrying real iron, calcium, potassium, and B vitamins. Use it in gingerbread, baked beans, and barbecue sauce. Food number 17. Grains: quinoa, barley, rye, millet, flax, grits. Whole grains can last up to 8 years when properly stored, since their natural oil content, while higher than white rice, is still low enough to resist rancidity for years if kept sealed. Storage matters because these grains are usually sold in bulk bins or thin bags that don't protect against moisture or pests. Transfer them into real airtight containers the same day you bring them home. Nutritionally, they're excellent sources of fiber, plant protein, and sustained energy. Use them in pilafs, porridges, soups, and grain bowls. I put all these foods into a free printable checklist, so you can take it right to the store with you. Grab it from the link in the description below. Group 3. I call this one the multi-year staples. Food number 18. Canned fruits, vegetables, and beans. Canned goods can last up to 6 years, past their printed date, and often remain safe well beyond that, because the canning process itself sterilizes the contents and the seal keeps everything else out. Storage matters most in terms of can condition. Keep them in a cool cupboard, away from extreme heat, which can weaken the can seal over time. Nutritionally, canned produce retains most of its fiber and vitamins, and canned beans offer the same protein benefits as dried, just faster to use. This is the single most important safety rule on the whole list. Never eat from a can that's dented, bulging, or leaking. That's a sign the seal failed and bacteria may be present. When in doubt, throw it out. Food number 19. Packaged tuna. Canned tuna lasts up to 5 years. Pouches closer to 3, thanks to the same sterilization and seal principle as other canned goods. Storage is simple. Keep it in the pantry or cupboard, and label the purchase date, since tuna is one of the most commonly forgotten bulk buy items. Nutritionally, it's a lean, high-protein food rich in omega-3 fatty acids, needing 0 cooking. Use it for tuna salad, casseroles, or straight with crackers. Food number 20. Whole spices and herbs. Whole spices last up to 4 years. Ground spices closer to 3. Dried herbs about the same. The difference comes down to surface area. Ground spices and crushed herbs expose more surface to air, so their aromatic oils degrade faster than whole spices do. Storage matters enormously for flavor here. Heat and light break down those aromatic compounds quickly. So store spices in airtight jars, away from direct sunlight and critically tassats, not above the stove, one of the most common storage mistakes people make. Nutritionally, many spices carry real antioxidant properties, though the amounts used are small. Use them to season everything you cook. Past their peak, they won't harm you, they'll just taste weaker. Food number 21. Pickles and pickled vegetables. Unopened jars of pickles last up to 4 years, thanks to the vinegar brine creating the same hostile environment for bacteria that straight vinegar does. Storage is simple while sealed. Pantry is fine. But refrigeration becomes necessary once opened. Nutritionally, pickled vegetables are low-calorie, and if they're fermented rather than vinegar-based, they can carry real probiotic benefits for gut health. Use them as a side or chopped into potato and egg salads. Key distinction: quick, unprocessed refrigerator pickles don't share this shelf life. They need to be eaten within weeks. Food number 22, dried pasta. Dried pasta lasts up to 3 years in an airtight container, since it's fully dehydrated wheat with essentially no moisture for anything to act on. Storage matters because pasta is often sold in cardboard boxes, which pests can chew through and which don't block humidity. Transfer it to a sealed, airtight container regardless of packaging. Nutritionally, it's an affordable, filling carbohydrate base, one of the best dollar per meal foods available. Use it in any pasta dish or broken into soups. Group 4, the shorter but still long staples. Food number 23, dark chocolate. Dark chocolate keeps about 2 years, the longest of any chocolate variety, because it has the lowest dairy content. And dairy is what typically causes chocolate to spoil faster. Storage matters because temperature swings cause bloom, a harmless but unappealing white, chalky coating. Store it at room temperature in its original wrapper or tightly sealed, never in the fridge. Nutritionally, dark chocolate carries real antioxidants and has a documented mood-boosting effect, making it one of the more genuinely beneficial treats to stockpile. Eat it as is or melt it for baking. Food number 24, beef jerky, store-bought, unopened. Store-bought jerky lasts up to 2 years unopened. Thanks to the dehydration and curing process removing the moisture bacteria need, storage is simple. Keep it sealed in a dark pantry, away from heat. Nutritionally, it's a lightweight, shelf-stable, high-protein snack, good for quick energy or rehydrated into stews. Important distinction: homemade jerky does not share this shelf life. It should be eaten within a few weeks unless properly vacuum sealed and cured to commercial standards. Food number 25. Bouillon. Bouillon cubes or powder last about 2 years. Concentrated salt and dehydration doing the same preservation work as with soy sauce and molasses. Storage matters because bouillon absorbs moisture and surrounding odors quickly if left open. Reseal the container tightly after every use. Nutritionally, it's high in sodium but delivers real savory depth instantly. Use it as an instant flavor base for soups, stews, rice, and sauces. Here's what most people get wrong. They assume a food's shelf life is fixed, that if the label says 2 years, that's just what it is, no matter what. It's not. Almost every food on this list can either hit its full potential shelf life or fall apart in half the time, and the difference is entirely in how it's stored. Wrong container, wrong spot in the kitchen. One loose lid. And you've cut years off something that should have outlasted you. If you take one thing from this entire video, it's this: shelf life isn't fixed. It's earned through storage. And every single food we covered today comes down to the same 3 principles. Principle 1, moisture is the enemy. Every forever food on this list stays forever specifically because it's dry. The moment water gets in, humidity, cooking steam, a loose lid, the countdown starts, no matter what the label says. Principle 2, heat and light quietly shorten everything. Even foods that are technically shelf-stable forever, like vanilla extract or spices, lose potency and flavor faster when stored near the stove or in direct sunlight. Safety isn't the only thing at stake, quality is too. Principle 3, airtight beats original packaging almost every time. Cardboard boxes, paper bags, and loosely closed jars are the difference between a food hitting its full potential shelf life and falling short by years. 25 ordinary foods, all sitting on a grocery store shelf near you right now, every one of them capable of lasting years. Some of them forever, if you store them right. You don't need to buy all 25 at once. Start with what you already use in your kitchen: salt, sugar, rice, dried beans. Transfer them to airtight containers, keep them cool and dark, and you've already built the foundation of a pantry that outlasts the price tag you paid for it. If you want to keep this handy, I've got a free printable version of this list. Just tap the link in the description and it's yours. If this helped you, subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and let me know in the comments which of these 25 surprised you most. I read every single one. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.